What's going on, guys? It is Will here, back again, once again, with another episode of the Gridiron Talk podcast, episode 6, week 16. The playoffs are only 2 weeks away. I'm very excited for this. I don't know about you guys, but playoff football is always the best type of football, and it's going to be fun. Once again, I am here with my cousin Nick. Nick, how have you been this past week?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to get to the end of the regular season and, like you said, jump into those playoffs. It's the best time of year for football fans, and I can't wait. I know you can't either.
I know, and also with us being Giants fans, they most likely won't make the playoffs. It makes the playoffs a lot more enjoyable because you're not stressing. It's like, oh my God, are they going to win? Are they going to win? Are they going to win? So it makes the playoffs a lot more enjoyable. Obviously, if the Giants make the playoffs, I'm not going to complain, but it adds a different factor when your team's not in it. You know, when you're just watching it as a football fan, it's just like, oh, I don't really care who wins this game. It'd be cool for this team to win, but if they don't, I won't be upset about it, you know?
Exactly. Definitely agree.
So we have a whole weekend of football, which is something that hasn't happened all year, which is crazy with the whole COVID and the scheduling changing and stuff. We have Christmas Day football on Friday,
Bizarre.
which is awesome. We have, bizarre, but awesome.
Mm-hmm.
We have Saturday football. The whole day is Saturday. We have like a 4 o'clock game, a 6 o'clock game, an 8 o'clock game. Awesome. And then we have Sunday night. And then we got Monday Night Football again. So we have 4 days in a row of pro football. This is the perfect week to be a football fan, man. Who wouldn't love this? You know?
Yeah, no,
I know. It is great. I'm very excited. And yeah, anything else to say, Nick, before we get into the Christmas Day game?
I'm just ready to watch some football, sit there on my couch and not move for God knows how many hours, make my butt fall asleep.
All right, let's get into it. So, like I said, this is the game that's on Christmas Day on this Friday. We got the New Orleans Saints at 10-4 and the Minnesota Vikings at 6-8. Now, this is a very interesting game. These two teams have history. 2 years ago, was it, or was it 3 years ago? The Minneapolis Miracle with Stephon Diggs happened, and then last year the Vikings upset the Saints in the Superdome in overtime. Although the Saints' kryptonite is the Vikings, I don't think the Saints are going to lose this game. Drew Brees came back last week. I'd say, Nick, he played okay, coming back from a somewhat major injury. And the Saints almost won that game against New Orleans, against Kansas City. So with that being said, I think the Saints, I like their chances in this game. Even though they've lost 2 in a row, I still have them favored to win this game. And also, if Minnesota loses, they're mathematically eliminated from the playoffs after losing to Chicago last week. Anything else to add on to this game, Nick, between the Vikings and the Saints?
Yeah, I agree with the Saints. I know they're coming off of 2 losses here, but towards the end of that game, Drew Brees started to get back into his normal motion. He started to look a little better. He definitely started slow, but I expect Drew Brees to do Drew Brees things and go out there and compete and show us that the Saints are for real. They're a real deal team that could make a deep playoff run, and I think we're going to see that on display here against the Vikings.
All right, man. You know, I think this might be Drew Brees' last season. I think he's going to retire after year. He'll hang up the cleats. And what a historic career. One of the best quarterbacks of all time. So shout out to you, Drew Brees, for a legendary career. You'll definitely be in Canton with due time. So with all that being said, Nick, who is your boom for this game and why?
I'm going with Alvin Kamara in this game. You know, when Taysom Hill took over at quarterback for Drew Brees, Kamara didn't quite look the same. He wasn't quite as elite as he was earlier in the season. And I think that a lot of that has to do with the fact that Taysom Hill is more of a running style quarterback. Now that we have Drew Brees back at the helm, throwing the ball, I think he's going to find his favorite weapon, especially now that Michael Thomas is out. I think it's going to be a big game for Kamara. How about you? Who do you have?
My boom is Drew Brees. Excuse me. Like you said, he started off slow last week against Kansas City, but he over the course of the game, he was heating up. So I think that I guess hot streak will continue into this game, and Drew Brees has to get in the playoff form anyway with the playoffs 2 weeks coming in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
What about your bust, Nick? Who you have busting in this game?
I'm going with Kirk Cousins. I don't like what I've seen out of him, and I don't know if you saw Justin Jefferson He's kind of upset with Kirk Cousins' plate as of late, and
I saw that.
yeah, I think that the struggles there are going to continue. How about you?
Yeah, I also have Kirk Cousin as my bust as well. Um, he's an average quarterback, but he has definitely been struggling this year. And like you said, Justin Jefferson is not happy with him. That was really funny.
Yeah,
Um, I also see the memes on like, what are we gonna do? Because the playoff one game will be put on Nickelodeon. So what are they gonna do if something happens with that? They say like what Justin Jefferson said on Nickelodeon.
I couldn't imagine.
I mean, that would be kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Like I said, my boss is Kirk Cousins. He's been missing throws all year, like that one we're talking about, and he just hasn't looked the same since he signed that big contract with Minnesota. Who's your pick to win this game, Nick, and why?
I'm going with the Saints in this one. I think it'll be a good game, 24-17. How about you?
I also have the Saints winning. I got them winning 27-20. It should be a close game, but I think they'll win by 7 in this one.
All right, so we're going to jump right into the next game here. We have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 9-5 versus the Lions at 5-9, two opposite records. The Buccaneers are coming off a comeback win. Lions are coming off a blowout. Tom Brady, he's looking like he's got another playoff run in him right now. The fact that they were able to come back against the Atlanta Falcons, he always finds a way to do that against the Atlanta Falcons. I feel so bad for Matt Ryan and that group and any of their fan base. Whenever they see Matt Ryan or Tom Brady, I can't imagine what must be going through their mind. I think it'll be. I don't know. I'm going to be honest. I think it's going to be a blowout, but who knows? I could be wrong. You got anything to add to this game?
Oh yeah, I mean I know we've kind of been dogging on Tom Brady during the podcast in the past, but he's been looking really good recently. Coming off of that good performance, I know I texted you. It's like, oh well, looks like the Buccaneers lost, and then they were down 17, and Tom Brady came back and he did Tom Brady things. So with that being said, I really like the Buccaneers. I don't think they make a deep playoff run, but I could potentially see them upsetting the team they play in the wild card round, especially if they play Washington in the first round. I can definitely see them beating Washington, but I don't think they'll make the NFC title game. I think they'll lose in the second round.
Yeah, I could definitely.
But maybe next year, I think next year the Buccaneers will be a bigger threat, especially if Drew Brees retires, because I mean you got the Panthers who are in the midst of a rebuild. The Saints would be in a rebuild if he retires, and we got the Falcons who are just kind of like in purgatory. They don't really know what to do. Should they trade Matt Ryan? Should they trade Julio Jones? What's Todd Gurley's future in Atlanta? So I could see the next year being the clear favorites to win the division, and whenever you're in Bruce Arians' system, I could see Tom Brady looking better next year. And his last year in the Buccaneers, and most likely as a quarterback, because he signed only a 2-year deal with them. So that's what I have to say about the Buccaneers. Next year will be their year to really have all things be clicking.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I could see a big run at it next year with Tom Brady do one more time, shocking the world. Wouldn't surprise me at all. So who do you have for Boom in this game?
Kind of a surprising one. I got Antonio Brown. He had caught his first touchdown pass since coming back to the NFL last week against New Orleans, against Atlanta. And it actually was the game-winning touchdown. I gave them the lead, and the Buccaneers defense held on, and that's what clinched it for him. But he's been relatively quiet since joining the Buccaneers, but I feel like that touchdown pass will not only give him confidence, but it'll give Tom Brady more confidence to throw him the ball more. There's a lot of mouths to feed on Tampa's offense, but like I said, I think that will give Tom Brady and Antonio the confidence to be like, all right, we can click again like we did in New England that one time. So let's give me the ball more, feed me more, and yeah. What about you, Nick? Who's your bust or Boom?
I'm going with Mike Evans in this game. I like what I've seen out of him this year. He's, for the most part, he's been Tom Brady's touchdown threat. And I could see that continuing here against a very weak secondary for Detroit. We'll see, though. Who do you have for bust?
My bust is DeAndre Swift. He's been having a relatively good season as the Lions running back of the future. But I don't like what I've been seeing from him recently. I know he had like 2 touchdowns last week, but he's making a lot of rookie mistakes. I know week 1 against Chicago. He had that drop touchdown pass, if you remember that. And last week he fumbled the ball. So he's got a bunch of rookie mistakes, and the Buccaneers are a very blitz-heavy defense. So I think that'll just be trouble for the rookie running back. What about you, Nick?
So I'm going with Matt Stafford. I like Matthew Stafford a lot, but he's a tough guy, but he's playing through a really rough injury right now, and he played okay last week, but I mean they still got blown out. I'm a big fan of his, but I can't see him working through that injury and playing a good game. So I think it's going to be a rough one for him. Who do you have winning this game?
I have Tampa Bay winning 31-20. What about you, Nick?
I got the Buccaneers winning this one 34-17.
Should be maybe we'll see Tom Brady wind back the clock one more time and show us he still got it.
Maybe.
Next game we got, and just like last game, this game and next game are all on Saturday night. So just a little. I know I said that in the beginning, but I didn't specify which game. So yes, the Buccaneers game, this game, and the next game are all on Saturday. So with that being said, the second Saturday game is the 49ers at 5-9 and the Cardinals at 8-6. This is a quite interesting game with Nick Mullins out for the season, who was the 49ers quarterback with Jimmy G out. And the 49ers signed Josh Rosen off of Tampa Bay's practice squad. So the question is, will Josh Rosen start against his former team, Arizona? Their only other healthy option is CJ Beathard. I think that's his name. And I would say they start Rosen, man. You know, why not? He's a young quarterback. Might as well give him a shot. And if he plays well, you have 2 more games. If he plays well these next 2 years, maybe you got your quarterback in the future. You know, might as well. And the other story here is George Kittle playing? Because Kyle Shanahan's giving him reps in practice. And he said that even though they're mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, him and George Kittle both want him to return before the end of the season just so he can get back into the swing of things, which I hope he does because I picked him up in fantasy. So he would be a great flex option with Darren Waller and George Kittle. So I'm really hoping George Kittle comes back to play in this game. What about you, Nick? Anything to add to this game?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I hope they give Rosen the start. I liked him in college and going into the draft. I did not like what I saw when he started in the NFL, but I feel like he was never really given an opportunity to prove himself. He played for really bad teams, and then he was just let go of those teams for obviously better options. But, I mean, it just wasn't fair to him, and I think he deserves at least a chance on a team that has no opportunity to make the playoffs. So I would love to see him get out there and play. I definitely think they're going to start Beathard, unfortunately, but I would like to see it at least.
Mm. Yeah, which is unfortunate because like you said, he's I liked what I saw from him in college as well. He's kind of arrogant. I remember when he got drafted, he was like, there was like 9 other mistakes drafted before me, which that was not the right thing to say. I mean, let's be honest. He was definitely the worst quarterback in that draft class looking back. And I just wish he had another chance, like you said. You know, I mean, it's kind of – he hasn't really played a lot. The first season with Arizona, they were a completely different team than they were now with Kyler Murray. Their offensive line sucks. And it still kind of does suck, but it doesn't really matter because Kyler Murray is a very mobile quarterback. They didn't have DeAndre Hopkins. Their best receiver was Larry Fitzgerald, who's good, but like – you know, it's just like he had no weapons, you know?
Yeah.
And in Miami, I thought he would be their quarterback of the future, but Ryan Fitzpatrick had just played much better than him because he's a veteran, so he knows what he's doing. And then they drafted Tua. So he really hasn't gotten a chance. I say they draft Josh Rosen, or not draft. They start Josh Rosen either this week or next week. And then next week in the draft, maybe draft a quarterback, so then you have 2 young rookie quarterbacks, or young quarterbacks, you know?
Yep.
And then you're like, all right, well, Josh Rosen can be the backup. He's still young. He could be a solid backup. Then we have, like, let's just say Zach Wilson, for an example, or the kid from North Dakota State. I forgot his name, but the one that has the crazy touchdown-interception ratio. Draft him, and then Rosen will be his backup. You know, maybe time to move on from Jimmy G because maybe he is a 49ers problem. Who knows?
Yep.
With that being said, sorry, I was drinking water. Who is your boon for this game, Nick, and why?
I'm going with Kyler Murray in this game. Last week he showed you what a fully healthy Kyler Murray could do. Had a hell of a game. He found his favorite target, DeAndre Hopkins again, and I think it's going to continue here. He's dominant right now, and they're on a roll, so I think they're going to kick some butt. Who do you have?
My boom is George Kittle. He's their 49ers' number one option when he's healthy. If he doesn't play, then my boom would be DeAndre Hopkins. Kind of like what you said. Him and Kyler Murray are both balling right now. So George Kittle or DeAndre Hopkins. Who's your bust for this game, Nick?
I'm going with Brandon Ayuk. He's been on a tear lately, killing it. I think he just comes back down to earth a little bit in this game, and that's the only thing. Just come back down to earth. Who do you have for bust?
My bust might be a little biased as a Kenyon Drake fantasy owner, but I'm saying Chase Edmonds. But in all reality, him and Kenyon Drake split touches, which just never is good from a fantasy perspective. Chase Edmonds is more of the pass catching back. Jeez. But I personally like Kenyon Drake more than Chase Edmonds anyway. I think he's the better running back. But with that being said, I still got the Cardinals winning this game 28-20. What about you, Nick?
I got the Cardinals winning 31-17, actually, in a blowout.
Wow.
I know. We'll see. I'm a big Cardinals fan, though. They're one of my favorite teams other than the Giants. All right.
Because you got Kyler because you got Kyler in your pay league. That's why.
I got Kyler and I got DeAndre in pretty much every one of my leagues. So, yeah, that might have something to do with it. But, okay, moving on. We've got another Saturday night game. We have the Raiders at 7-7 versus the Dolphins at 9-5. This is going to be a pretty good game, I think. The Raiders, they're in complete desperation mode, and potentially they might not make the playoffs now. Out of nowhere, they looked so good for so long coming into the season, and then they're just losing games left and right now. And the Dolphins are rolling after a big win in New England. I don't know if it was in New England or at New England, but against New England at least. So this is going to be a game where we see Las Vegas go into it thinking, all right, we need to win. We need to win now. Otherwise, our fans are going to riot. We've always had crazy fans. And we don't want to put on a show for them where we make everyone think we're going to the playoffs half the season, and then we just don't show up the rest of it. So I think we're going to see a pretty good game here. I don't know if it's going to be Mariota at quarterback. I don't know if it's going to be David Carr. We'll see. What do you have to add to that?
Derek Carr, not David Carr.
I'm sorry. I get that mixed up all the time. I'm an old school football fan. You could tell.
You've done that before, man.
I know. Sorry.
No, as you know, I was always a big fan of the Raiders. Not obviously a Raiders fan, but I've always thought they were a pretty good team. They've fallen from grace recently, but what they can do to salvage their season, the chances of them making the playoffs are extremely slim. They're going to have the Dolphins lose out, the Ravens lose out, and they win out. So, the chances of that happening are probably the chances of us getting a lunar eclipse. So it's probably not going to happen. But the future is very bright in Las Vegas. Their defense sucks, and they realize that. So I think if I was the Raiders, I would go after a free agent defensive player. Just an example, because I know he's one. Leonard Williams from the Giants. I'm not saying they will go after him. I'm just using him as an example. It's just like a good free agency pickup. Because their offense is pretty good. They got a good young running back and Josh Jacobs, a good tight end and Waller, and they got good receivers with Ruggs and Aguilar. They just need help on defense,
Yeah.
And I think that's what's holding the Raiders back is their defense. Besides their defense, I think they'll be a good. I don't think they'll ever win a division soon with Patrick Mahomes at home, but I could see them being a solid wild card team for the next at least 3 years after this year, if they just get some couple defensive pieces,
Yep.
With all that being said, I got Josh Jacobs. I really like his style of play. They really know how to make good running backs at Alabama, and I think despite a good Miami defense, I still think he'll roll. And he'll have a great game, especially if Derek Carr's out and they might have to rely on Marcus Mariota. I think they'll hand the ball off more to him if Mariota's starting. What about you, Nick? Who's your boom?
My boom, I'm going with Gaskins in this game if he plays. I think he's going to. I don't know, though. We don't know for sure. If he's not out there, I'm going with the other running backs. I think it's Salvon Ahmed. He looks pretty decent out there, and I think the running game it should play pretty well for the Dolphins. Who do you have for bust?
My bust is Henry Ruggs, the rookie receiver from Alabama. I just don't think he'll play well with Byron Jones and Xavier Howard on him, you know?
Hmm.
You saw what Xavier Howard did with Tyreek Hill. He mostly clamped him up. He had that nice interception on him in the end zone, if you remember that. And if Tyreek Hill can't get past Xavier Howard, what's convincing me that Henry Ruggs will, you know?
Yeah,
So that's why he's my bust. What about you, Nick? Who's your bust?
I'm going with Devontae Parker. I'm a fan of his all season. I wanted a lot out of him. I think he let me down a little bit compared to what he did at the end of last season, but I think he's just going to struggle in this game. I could be wrong, but I don't like what I've seen out of Tua as far as throwing the ball. So I think the receivers struggle for that. So, who do you have to win this game?
I got the Raiders winning 24-21. I think they need a win. They need it now, and this will be a good win against a good team. What about you, Nick?
Yeah, the cool thing about the Raiders, or the fun thing I should say, is that they always play to the talent level of the team they're playing, whether that be the Chiefs or the Jets. So you know it's going to be a good game. Having said that, I'm going with the Dolphins in this one, 21-17.
Mm. All right, that concludes the Saturday night games, the last three we did. Now, let's get into the Sunday slate. Our first game we were talking about, one that me and Nick don't really want to talk about, the Giants at 5-9 and the Ravens at 9-5. Both teams are trying to stay alive in the playoff hunt. I mean, if the Giants make the playoffs, cool. If they don't, cool. I really don't care. I don't mean to be negative, but like I'm down for whatever, you know. If they make the playoffs, that's awesome. If they don't, it's like, oh, we got a good draft pick, you know. With that being said, Lamar has been absolutely on fire since coming back from the COVID list. And he's been on a tear, man. I think he's MVP Lamar, like in that form. I'm not saying he's the MVP front runner. I'm saying like his form is back. He's been playing great. Will Daniel Jones play for New York? I don't think that's really a matter when Lamar Jackson's on the opposite side. I'm really nervous to be a Giants fan this game. What about you, Nick? Anything to add to this game with the Ravens against New York?
Yeah, so I agree that Lamar Jackson has been playing absolutely out of his mind as of late. I like what I've seen out of him the last few games, even though he had to go and take a bathroom break. You know, that is what it is. No, so yeah, the only thing that I have to say, and me trying to be as unbiased as possible, the Giants' defense, the young athletic linebackers that they have, they are built to spy the quarterback and keep him contained, keep him in the pocket. They haven't seen someone with the athletic ability like Lamar Jackson to this point. They have seen Kyler Murray, who's a freak athlete in his own right, but he's not quite the same kind of build as Lamar Jackson. But I think the Giants are built to contain him. Will they? That's a totally different question. But they have the tools to do it. That's my opinion.
I agree. And let me just say, Lamar Jackson, like you said, a freak athlete. He's the most athletic quarterback in the NFL today. There
Yeah.
is no question with that. I was talking to one of my coworkers about this, and he was saying like Lamar Jackson could run down the field 40 yards and get right back up and do it again.
Yep.
And because it's just how he's built. I mean, he's a running back playing quarterback, and I know people give Lamar slander. I personally think Lamar's a great quarterback. Um, and he hasn't gotten injured in his first. Let's hope he doesn't get injured in this game or next game. In his full 2 years of starting, he
Yeah.
didn't get injured at all last year when he was a rookie and he played like a couple games. He didn't get injured. And this year, he was only injured due to COVID, which isn't really an actual injury. It's an illness.
Mm-hmm.
So he's been healthy, and we haven't seen that from like a mobile quarterback since like Michael Vick, and that
Yep.
was like 15 years ago. They all got hurt. Vince Young, look at him, he got hurt. RG3 got hurt. Johnny Manziel, I mean, he had off-field issues, but he didn't last long in the NFL. So all these quarterbacks like Lamar Jackson don't last long, and he's proving them wrong. And
Yep.
I think him and Kyler Murray both will have a good long career in the NFL.
Yeah, I hope you're right, and I tend to lean the opposite. I think at some point an injury will happen. I hate to say that, but with quarterbacks like that, you see that more often than not. But I hope he proves that statistic in theory wrong, because he is as electric as a player gets in the NFL.
Mm-hmm. With all that being said, my boom is it's pretty clear. It's Lamar Jackson. He's been, like we said, he's been on a fire since coming back. And the Giants' young defense, I don't think they will contain him well. I hope they do, but I just don't see that happening. What
Yeah.
about you, Nick? Who's your boom?
Yeah, I mean, I agree 100%, and same exact thing. Lamar Jackson's my bust or boom. I'm sorry. I think he's gonna light it up, which actually leads right into my bust. As much as it hurts me to say it, I think it's the Giants defense who have been playing exceptional all season. This is the first time they're playing a quarterback like Lamar Jackson. So, who do you have for bust?
My bust is the Giants quarterback, whether that be Daniel Jones or Colt McCoy. They've both been playing decent, but against a tough Ravens defense, and our offense just sucks. I don't think we'll do anything with either of them. With that being said, I got the Ravens winning 21-9 because that's the only thing the Giants can do is kick field goals.
Yeah.
21-9 Baltimore. What about you, Nick? Who's your prediction to win this one?
I'm also going the Ravens in this one, 20-7. I agree. I don't think it's going to be much of a score for the Giants. I'd like to think otherwise, but I just don't see it. I think it's going to be a good game for the Ravens, unfortunately. All right, so that leads us right into the next game. We are talking now about the Falcons at 4-10 versus the Chiefs at 13-1. The Chiefs, they're running away with it this year, in my opinion. They have the best record now in the league, and they look awesome. Mahomes and company, they look primed for a deep playoff push. Can Atlanta pull the upset card? They've done it before. But the Chiefs, for me at least, and I think most people, they're probably the favorite to win the Super Bowl this year. Everything is just clicking for them. They're exciting. They're fun to watch. They're explosive. They've got all the pieces, and they're just killing it. What do you think? You got anything to add to that?
I agree with you 100%. Everything you said about the Chiefs is right. And Atlanta might play the upset card. I mean, I would not sleep on them. Last year they did it with the 49ers. If you remember, they beat the 49ers in week 16 as well. They beat them on like a game, like a buzzer beater touchdown to Julio Jones.
Yeah.
So I don't think it'll happen, but like you said, they've done it before. So it might happen. Like I said, I don't think it will, but you never know. But there's not much more to say about that, Nick. They are the clear Super Bowl favorites. Everything's clicking. They're running away with it. I could not agree with anything more you said. Oh wait, maybe the fact that the Bears trade up to take Mitch Trubisky over Patrick Mahomes. I will add on that.
Ouch. Yep, I agree. All right, so let's go talk about these booms. For me, my boom of this game, I'm going with Travis Kelce, best tight end in the league and has been for years. People were talking about Kittle as the best tight end. He's good, but no one's on the same level as Travis Kelce, and he's showing it this year. Who do you have for boom?
My boom is Le'Veon Bell. With Clyde Edwards-Helaire out, I think for the rest of the regular season with an ankle injury. I think he'll be back for the playoffs, but he's definitely going to be out for this game and next game. I think Le'Veon Bell will ease his way into the RB1 role. I think if he plays well this game and week 17, he might be the main running back in Kansas City, which might be a little bit of a shock. But hey, I mean, you roll with the hot hand, and I think the Chiefs are going to get out big early, and they're going to just wind the clock down, and they're going to run the ball a lot. And that in tune will give him a lot of touches, a lot of carries, and he might score a touchdown or two. He also scored a touchdown last week, so I think his momentum will carry into this game as well.
Yeah, I agree with that. I could definitely see that happening. It's tough news for anyone that owns Clyde Edwards-Helaire in fantasy, but that's the way of the world. So for my bust of this week or for this game, going with Todd Gurley. I actually saw an article talking about Brian Hill is actually the starting running back now, and Todd Gurley lost his role as the starter. He's kind of the third down back now, which I could see because of his knee issues. They're kind of slowing him down, and that's what I expected. It's tough to see someone that showed so much promise and that someone who is as electric a player as Todd Gurley is. But again, that's the way it is sometimes. So who do you have for bust?
My bust is also Todd Gurley, and I just looked it up because I did not know that happened. And you're 100% right. It's Ito Smith, not Brian Hill.
Sorry,
but you're right. It says right here that he will be the RB1 for the rest of the season. And like you said, Ty Gurley will be the third down back, and he'll be the backup, which is crazy. I did not know that happened. It sucks that Ty Gurley was the offensive player of the year 2 years ago. Now he's a backup running back. That's awful. But that's just crazy, man. It sucks.
Yep.
But he's my boss. Like you said, he lost his role. And just kind of an unfortunate turn of events. I thought he'd have a good bounce back here in Atlanta, but I guess that's not how it worked. So with all that being said, I got the Chiefs winning this game in a blowout, and they're going to win easily 35-17. What about you, Nick?
Same. Chiefs winning 31-14. It's tough, and I also wanted to just add on with what you said about Todd Gurley. It's tough being a running back in the NFL, and that's why you find teams that don't want to pay these running backs, such big contracts, because they're great one season and the next season they could be gone. So.
Mm-hmm. Let's get into the next game. We have another NFC South team with the same exact record. The Carolina Panthers at 4-10 versus Washington at 6-8. Washington can clinch the division if they win, and the Giants lose. They can also, I think that's it. That's how they clinch the division. But there's a lot of controversy in Washington's culture and their, I guess, organization. With Dwayne Haskins, he was seen at a strip club, and where did they play last week? Seattle. He was seen in the strip club in Seattle, and he lost his captain's privileges. I guess the captain's patch. And GM Dan Snyder, who has his own line of controversies with defending their old Redskins name, he defended it for the longest time. Then he changed it after years of saying he wouldn't, and he said, "Oh yeah, it's not a problem, not a problem, not a problem." He constantly denied it wasn't a problem. Then he changed it, which I'm not saying is a bad thing. I'm just saying he was an idiot on that regard. Has having now sexual assault and misconduct violations on him, which is just crazy that this is all happening when they're trying to make a playoff push. And I'm saying, will this affect their play? With all this drama, all this negative drama affecting Washington. They had a lot of drama going into the season with, changing their name from the Redskins to the football team. I don't know if that's necessarily a bad drama, but it's definitely, I guess, drama, with all that controversy they had coming in. And what's going to go on with Dwayne Haskins and Alex Smith? Is Dwayne Haskins starting? Because if Alex Smith's leg isn't better, then Dwayne Haskins will start. And with all this issues he's having off the field, how we expect him to play? What do you think about this, Nick, with all this whole controversy in Washington's organization?
Yeah, this is tough. I think the Washington football team is one of those organizations that a player that is coming into the league or is a free agent, whoever, I think this is one of those teams that you want to avoid, kind of like the Jets. And it's unfortunate, but there's just so much drama going around, and there's so much problems and so many things that are happening that you just make you question the leadership of the organization and what they're doing. It's just, you want to stay away, and it sucks to see, but there's always a few teams like that. And I definitely could see this affecting the way that they play, not just this game either, going into the future, far into the future, depending on what they do. One of the most important things a team does when they build the team is to build culture and character from the ground up. And I know as a Giants fan, I'm going to sound biased, but the way that they're doing with it with Joe Judge, and the way they're doing it with the quality guys that know how to be professional athletes, that's what you want to see. You don't want to see guys out there doing dumb stuff like this. So it's really tough to see.
Right. I agree 100%. And like I said, with Dwayne Haskins, he had a lot of promise coming out of college, but he just doesn't have the work ethic, His work ethic sucks, and he's not developing himself. And he has the mentors. He's got Alex Smith, who was a former number-one pick, and he got benched by Kyle Allen, who was a late-round draft pick a couple years ago for Carolina.
Yep.
So I don't like what I'm seeing from Dwayne Haskins. Touching on Carolina, because we haven't even talked about them before we get into our booms and busts, do you think Teddy Bridgewater is their quarterback for the future or not? I personally think he isn't. I don't think they should draft a quarterback in this draft class, though. I think they should go next year. But what do you think? Is Teddy Bridgewater the future for the Carolina Panthers?
Teddy Bridgewater is the bridge quarterback to whoever takes over for this team, whether they draft one this year or next year. He is the short-term answer, who is a very serviceable quarterback in the meantime, in my opinion. I think he's an average quarterback that can hold over the team until they find their guy, their young stud going forward. That's my opinion.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, with that being said, my boom this week is Antonio Gibson if he plays. If not, J.D. McKissick. Washington will, especially if Dwayne Haskins is the quarterback, will focus on a run-heavy offense, and I think that will just be perfect for Carolina's weaker defense. What about you, Nick? Who's your boom?
My boom's Washington defense. Their front seven especially looks awesome, but the whole unit around, they look pretty good. I think they're going to get after the quarterback and make some big moves.
My bust is Teddy Bridgewater for this game. I like you said, I like Teddy Bridgewater. He's a serviceable quarterback, but I don't think he's the future of the Panthers, and I think he'll struggle against a tough defense. What about you, Nick? Who's your bust?
My bust is Robbie Anderson, just touching more on the Washington defense. They're very good. They're playing really well. And I think they're going to clamp down on Robbie Anderson, who's having a great year.
Mm-hmm. With all that being said, I would say the Panthers would win if Dwayne Haskins is playing, but I don't know for sure if he is or not. So I'll just go with the safer pick and saying that Washington wins this game 17-13. But if Haskins is starting, I would lean in the favor of Carolina. What about you, Nick?
Yeah, I'm going with Washington also, 17-10 actually. So similar score, but a little bit different. But yeah, all right. Leading into our next game, we are talking about the Cleveland Browns at 10-4 versus the Jets at 1-3. How about them Jets? Both teams
1-13, Nicky.
Yeah, big wins for these teams. The Jets, they're playing slightly better the last few weeks, even though they only have the one win. The defense isn't as bad as their offense, in my opinion. And the Browns, they're rolling the first double-digit win season since 2007. I hate to say this, but Baker Mayfield is not the worst. You'll never hear me say that again. But
no way.
He's not the best, that's for sure, but he's not the worst.
Well, Nick, he has an 84 overall in Madden, so according to Madden, he's better than Ben Roethlisberger and Kyler Murray.
Well, Madden's dumb. They're a bunch of losers. I hope they hear this.
Wow, guys, you have heard it here first on episode 6. Nick, who has been constantly known as a Cam Newton and a Baker Mayfield hater, finally said that Baker Mayfield's not that bad.
No, that's not what I said. I said he's not the worst.
He's not the worst. My fault. He's not the worst.
I could say the same thing.
I would take
Newton if I'm referring to Dwayne Haskins. So that's all I'm saying.
No, I would rather have Baker Mayfield than Daniel Jones in New York. I'm going to be honest.
All right, we're going to move right on then. I don't even want to get into it. What else do you have to add to this game?
All jokes aside, I really like what I'm seeing from the Browns. Baker Mayfield, he did play pretty good against the Giants. And I think that will continue against the Jets. And I think they will, I don't know if they'll clinch a playoff berth, but they'll win this game. Maybe still be AFC North from the Steelers, who have been on a downward trend. Maybe that will happen. Maybe it won't. We'll have to see if the Colts and the Steelers, who wins that game. But will be a good game for any Browns player, owner, and fantasy ever. Jarvis Landry, Baker Mayfield, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, Austin Hooper, any of them. I think they're all going to ball out on the Jets. You have anything to add, Nick, before we go into our booms and busts?
Nope, I agree with everything you said, though.
Excuse me. My boom for this week, and I know, Nick, you're going to hate this, is Baker Mayfield. I think he's going to have like a career game. And honestly, Nick, this might be a hot take. He might win Comeback Player of the Year.
Oh, my God.
He might win Comeback Player of the Year. He threw 21 interceptions last year, and he's just playing like a man possessed. He's looking like a young Tom Brady, in my opinion.
Oh, God.
I'm kidding with all of the young Tom Brady stuff. But no, seriously, I think Baker Mayfield's playing really well. I like what I've been seeing from him, which is surprising. But I think that will continue against the Jets. What about you, Nick? Who's your bust or boom?
My boom is Nick Chubb. I'm a big fan of that running back group that they had with him and Kareem Hunt. I think he's going to run all over the Jets. I know that their defense has been playing better, but this is the best running back group that they've played in a while. So I think it's going to be a good one for him. Speaking of running backs, my bust is actually Frank Gore over on the other side for the Jets. I love the old guy. I'm glad he got his one win, and I think his final season. But I think he's going to have a rough go. What about you? Who do you have for bust?
My bust is Jamison Crowder, who is one of the few bright spots on the Jets offense. But I think Sam Darnold is just not a good quarterback, and that will affect what's it called? His play, Crowder's play.
Yeah.
With that being said, I got the Browns win this game 28-17. Should be a somewhat easy win for them. The Jets got their one win, but they won't win again. What about you, Nick?
Yeah, I'm going with the Browns here as well, 24-14.
Awesome. Next game, we got the Chicago Bears at 7-7 and the Jacksonville Jaguars at 1-13. Duval, you guys have Trevor Lawrence. Unless you somehow win another game, you guys better not win a game. You gotta hit Trevor Lawrence. That's crazy. That's the big deal with the Jets winning. I know Jets fans are really upset that they won because they don't got Trevor Lawrence anymore. But I mean, if I was Trevor Lawrence, I would stay in Clemson every year. I don't want to play for Adam Gase. I wouldn't want to go to New York, the Jets. But with Trevor Lawrence most likely playing in Jacksonville unless they pull off an upset, will the Bears sneak into the playoffs? I mean, they're playing a team that's tanking. They are only a game behind the Cardinals. I don't know who has the tiebreaker or not. I think the Bears do. Don't quote me on that. But if the Bears win and the Cardinals lose, then the Bears will be tied for the Cardinals at the 7th seed. They had that losing streak, but since then they've won 2 in a row, I think. Maybe not, but they've been playing better than they have. More specifically, David Montgomery's been playing great, and so is Allen Robinson. Anything to add to this game, Nick? Also, Allen Robinson's returning to playing his old team. Anything to add, Nick, between the Bears and Jaguars?
Just that I'm living in Florida, close to Jacksonville. I've seen a few of their games. I'm a big fan of the organization, and I would love to see T-Law join the Jaguars. I think it'd be a lot of fun, and it would be really revitalizing to a team that deserves it because they've been going through a rough patch. So I would love to see that. Other than that, let's move on to those booms and busts.
My boom is Allen Robinson. I think his return game to Jacksonville will be great, especially going against a weaker secondary since they lost Jalen Ramsey and A.J. Bouye. Who do you got as your boom, Nick?
My boom is, I call him Mitch Ew Trubisky, not Mitchell, Mitch Ew Trubisky. I don't like Mitchell Trubisky at all, but I think he's playing a rough Jaguars defense, and I think he's going to find Allen Robinson a lot. He's going to find Mooney. I think Darnell Mooney is his first name. He's been having a great rookie season. And, I think he's going to find the end zone in this game quite a few times, maybe. So, that's my boom. Who do you have for bust?
My bust is Gardner Minshew. As much as I love him for the meme and the mustache, I think he won't be a Jaguars quarterback for the future. I like him, but he's just not the quarterback in the future, especially if they get Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
What about you, Nick? Who's your bust?
My bust is the other Robinson on the other side of the ball, James Robinson, who's having arguably the very best rookie running back season of all time, especially for not all time, but for undrafted rookies, that's for sure. And I think he's going to slow down against still a pretty good Bears defense. Not as good as they were in the past, but still pretty good. So who do you have here for winning this game?
I got the Bears winning this game 24-14. I think the defense will stifle the weak Jaguars offense. What about you, Nick? Who's your boom or pick?
I agree. The Bears are going to win this one 20-10. I think the Jaguars are all in now on tank for T-Law. So I think we're going to see that.
Awesome.
Yep. So let's lead right into the next game. We've got the Bengals at 3-10-1 versus the Texans at 4-10. The poor Texans, man, they're wasting Deshaun Watson's career. The Bengals, they're coming off a huge win. Do we see a switch in rankings after this game? I think it's possible. I think that the Texans could lose this game and go to 4-11, and the Bengals could win and go 4-10-1. I don't think it's going to happen, but I think it's possible. I feel bad for Texans fans and Deshaun Watson more than anyone. It's a rough going for him right now. What do you think? Anything to add to that?
Yeah, their future's screwed.
Yeah,
They're screwed because they don't have a first round draft pick this year because they traded to Miami for Tunsil, the left tackle.
mm-hmm.
They're screwed. I mean, like I said, I know they're done. They don't have a pick. JJ Watt wants to leave. Will Fuller wants to most likely will re-sign somewhere or sign somewhere else. It's not looking good, man. It really isn't. And like they got Deshaun Watson, but that's really it. He's a bright spot in their offense and their whole team. And like you said, I mean the Bengals, if they can beat the Steelers, they can beat the Texans. But I think that was just like they played the Steelers on a bad night and they just had the game of their life.
Yep.
So I don't think they'll win another game. That leads right into my boom. My boom is Deshaun Watson. I know it's pretty obvious, but Deshaun Watson's an elite quarterback, top 3 in the NFL, top 5 in the NFL, maybe top 3, but definitely top 5. And he's just like I said, he's elite, and he's been putting up these great numbers without DeAndre Hopkins, which is what he was doing his whole career before this year. What about you, Nick? Who's your boom?
My boom is David Johnson. I'm a fan of his. He's having a down year, actually, but I think he's going to be able to get some touches in this game and pour it on a poor Bengals front seven. And I think we see a good game from him. Who do you have for bust?
My bust is Ryan Finley. He had an okay game against the Steelers, and then we had that nice rushing touchdown. But besides that, I don't think he's a good quarterback. He's obviously not the quarterback for the future. He's just sitting there until Joe Burrow gets healthy, or Brandon Allen, whoever they rock with before Burrow comes back. He's just a placeholder. What about you, Nick? Who's your bust?
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be Ryan Finley. I liked Ryan Finley a lot in college when he played at NC State. I thought he had potential to be an NFL quarterback. I think he's a serviceable backup. But the nice thing about that is he's going to get extended time playing because it looks like Joe Burrow's injury could easily lead into a good chunk of next season.
Oh, really?
Yeah, apparently it could be like a 18-month like recovery time. So.
Oh shoot! So he might miss.
It could be like
when did he get injured? Yeah, a year and a half. So he'll be out until like May. He might miss all next year.
He might. We don't know for sure. He could, come back earlier, but we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Who's your pick to win this game, Nick, and why?
I'm going with the Texans in this game, 21-13. I think it'll be a good game, but I think the Texans, they're just a better team, and that's all because of Deshaun Watson. That's the only reason. So, how about you? Who do you have?
I agree completely. I also have the Texans winning this game. I got them winning the 20-13 with, like you said, Deshaun Watson being the X factor in this game. Let's move along right into our next game. Two teams that are great. One of them's hot. One of them's cold. We got the Indianapolis Colts at 10-4 against the Pittsburgh Steelers at 11-3. The Steelers have lost 3 in a row, which was last week's loss was definitely surprising. To the Cincinnati Bengals. And the Colts are trying to secure a playoff spot. I mean, despite their good record, they're still not in the playoffs yet, which is really odd. With that being said, they're also trying to secure the AFC South as well. They have the Titans have the tiebreaker, but they have the same record as the Titans. So one slip up from them, and the Colts would be in first in the AFC South. And the big question, Nick, is will the Steelers even win the AFC North? Yes or no? What do you think?
No.
You don't think they will?
Nope. I don't think they've got enough to pull it off. Big Ben has struggled, dude. I don't know if you watched the game the other night, but he looked like the worst quarterback I've seen in a long time. Well, all right, that's maybe a little bit of a stretch, but he doesn't look good. And they have no running game. They really don't. They have no running game. Other than Deontay Johnson, that team looks rough. So I think they're going to go on the schneid here. I think they're going to lose a few games.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I could see them losing out as well, especially if they play Cleveland next week for the AFC North title. And it's I as much as I love Juju Smith-Schuster, he's getting a lot of hate from the TikTok dances, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
people are not happy with him doing that dance on the logo. And
Yep.
he said right before the podcast, he said he won't do it anymore for the good of the team. He will stop doing that. So I kind of thought that was funny. Him and Chase Claypool, the TikTok boys.
Yep. They need to get off TikTok.
Who's your?
Football.
What did you say that you kind of cut out?
They need to get off TikTok and learn how to play football.
I mean, Nick, they're probably better football players than you. Let's be honest.
Oh, they're way better than me, but we're talking about professionals here.
That's true. They're getting paid to play football, Nick.
Yep, that's right.
Who is your boom for this game with the Colts and Steelers, and why?
I'm going with Zach Pascal, the receiver for the Colts. I like him a lot. I like what he did last week. I think he's coming into his own finally. I believe he was a rookie last year, so now is kind of his time to shine. And he was injured too last year, so I'm excited to see what he can do out there. I know the Steelers' defense is still pretty good, but I think they're going to dominate. How about you? Who do you have for boom?
My boom is T.Y. Hilton. I originally put the Colts defense, but I put him instead. He's been having a good couple span of games. Even though against a tough Steelers defense, I still think he will, like you said last week, come back from the dead and have a good game. I think that will happen this week against Pittsburgh. Who's your bust for this game?
Going with Big Ben, Ben Roethlisberger. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback, but I think his juice is gone. I think he should reconsider retiring at the end of the season, and he just hasn't looked good. He's not the same quarterback. How about you?
I agree. I was gonna put Ben Roethlisberger as my bust, but just to add a little bit of variety, I picked James Conner and Benny Snell, the two running backs for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They have no running game, man. Like you said, they have no running game. You can't win a football game without a running game, especially if Big Ben is gonna keep on playing like trash. You need to be able to run the ball a little bit, which is weird because James Conner is a good running back. I don't understand why they don't have a running game, but it's just weird.
Yep. All right, so who do you have winning this game?
Yeah, sorry again, I was drinking some water. My pick to win this game is the Colts. I got them winning this, I guess, an upset, if you want to even call it an upset. I don't really think it is. But I got the Colts winning 21-14. What about you, Nick?
I'm going with the Colts as well, 24-17. I don't think it's an upset, really, because the Colts are a good team. They have a good record. So I think it should be a fun game, and this is definitely one to watch. And I think I will be mentioning this game later in the podcast again. So, All right, let's move on to the next game. We have the Broncos at 5-9 versus the Chargers at 5-9. Two 5-9 teams. Herbert is coming off a huge performance, and Drew Lock and company, they struggled last week against the Bills. This is the game where you ask, can they turn it around? I'm not sure if they can. I like the Chargers. A lot of people are calling for Anthony Lynn's head. I don't know if it's warranted. I know there have been some really questionable play calls and a few losses that they've had. But, I mean, I don't know. I guess I could see it. There's talent on that team. But I'm a big fan of Justin Herbert. I'm a fan of their defense. I like Austin Eckler. I love Keenan Allen. So I think this is going to be a good game for the Chargers. What do you think? What do you got to add to this one? Anything?
You kind of cut out. Did you say you were a fan of Austin Eckler and Keenan Allen?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I just want to clarify. Yeah, I agree. I think the Chargers are they're really good on paper, but I don't know what's really holding them back. Is it Anthony Lynn?
It could
Is
be.
it the play calling? Who knows? It doesn't help that they're starting strong safety Derwin James, who's very, very good, is out for the season. That doesn't help their case. And it doesn't really help that Melvin Ingram is going to be leaving after this season because most likely they won't pay him. But with that being said, I think the Chargers have a good future. I think the AFC West as a whole is going to be the best division in football. You got Patrick Mahomes, you got the Raiders, and you got these two teams right here who are both young and promising.
Yeah.
I think Drew Lock is, in my opinion, the future of the Broncos. I know a lot of people are, like you said, with Anthony Lynn, they're coming for his head. But they're also coming for Drew Lock's head, which I think is unwarranted because he is still a second-year player. Most of his receivers are average. I mean, you got Jerry Jeudy, who's pretty good. Tim Patrick is also pretty good, and also KJ Hamler, and Noah Fant too. So he has the weapons, but I mean, his best receiver Sutton is out for the season. So I say you give Drew Lock kind of like what we're doing with Daniel Jones in New York, Nick. Give him one more year. If he doesn't progress, then you may get another one. But I say you rock with Drew Lock another year. You know, I like Drew Lock a lot.
I like that. Rock with Drew Lock.
I didn't even mean to do that too. That's what's funny.
All right, so who do you have for Boom in this game?
I got Justin Herbert, the rookie. Most likely, we didn't even talk about this. He will break the rookie passing touchdown record that was held by Baker Mayfield. At 20, he's at 27 right now, so he just needs one touchdown in the next 2 games to break the record, and I think he'll do that. Yeah. And this will be the game where he breaks history, and he basically, as close as the rookie of the year race is, I still think that Herbert's the front runner with Justin Jefferson right behind him. I think this is the game where he basically clinches the rookie of the year. What about you, Nick?
I'm actually going with Austin Eckler. I'm a big fan of his. The dude is a freak athlete. He's coming off a big hamstring injury, and they didn't try to ease him in at all. He just got thrown in there, and he's been okay, but he's a freak athlete, and I'm excited to see what he can do against the Broncos here. So who do you have for bust?
My bust is Philip Lindsay, the running back for the Broncos. Lindsay, I don't know why I said Lindsay like that. But I like I feel like Melvin Gordon is taking the lead back roles in Denver. I know Melvin Gordon scored twice next week against the Bills. Although they do split carries, I personally think Melvin Gordon's the better running back of the two. What about you, Nick? Who's your bust?
So my bust in this game, I'm actually going with Noah Fant. I like the Chargers defense in this game, and I think they're going to be able to hold him. He is coming off an injury, I think, a week or 2 ago. But I think they're going to be able to hold him. So who do you have winning this one?
I got the LA Chargers winning in the somewhat low-scoring game, 21-13. I think their defense will come through against Drew Lock. Justin Herbert breaks the rookie passing touchdown record, and it'll be a good game. What about you, Nick?
I'm going with the Chargers in this one, 27-10, a little bit higher scoring for the Chargers. But I think it'll be a good game to watch if you're a Chargers fan. So
let's get into the next game. 2 NFC East teams. I really don't like either of these teams, Nick. If I had it my way, I would just skip this game. But we got to talk about it. We got the Philadelphia Eagles at 4-9-1 against the Dallas Cowboys at 5-9. Let me just say, the Dallas Cowboys are somehow still in the playoffs, and that really makes me depressed. I just can't. I can't stand this team. I can't. Let me say this: if Cowboy fans, right, weren't obnoxious, loud, like annoying, I wouldn't mind the Dallas Cowboys. Like, example, Washington. I don't like the Washington football team because they're in the Giants division, but I don't hate them as much as the Eagles and the Cowboys because their fans are annoying. You don't see the Washington football team fans being arrogant, I guess douchebags for lack of a word. But you just see it with the Cowboy fans. They're always saying like, "Oh, we're gonna win this Super Bowl." Oh, nah. Oh, we're still in the playoffs. Yeah, especially Skip Bayless. Same thing with the Eagles, man. I can't stand these two fan bases. They're so toxic. They're so annoying. They give me headaches. Yeah. Let me stop complaining about that because I could rant about these two fan bases until the cows come home. But despite their awful records, they're still in the playoff hunt, which is crazy. Like I said, that's crazy. I hope that neither of these teams win, but one of them has to. And Jalen Hurts is playing like a man possessed. I actually picked him up in fantasy this week, so I swear to God, Jalen Hurts, if you suck, I will be very pissed. It's the fantasy playoffs, so you better come through. But yeah, do you have anything to add to Nick? But Cowboys and Eagles?
No, I got nothing to say about these two teams. I'm not a fan. This is going to be a boring game, in my opinion.
You don't like Jalen Hurts?
I like Jalen Hurts, but I just think he's the new young, fresh toy that's out there that's playing a few good games, and I think he'll come down to earth after that. But yeah,
I could see that happening. Yeah,
I didn't like him.
Yeah, you said that you didn't like his accuracy. I think you said you didn't like him throwing the ball.
Yeah.
But Jalen Hurts actually is my boom of the week. I think, especially against a weak Cowboys defense, he will torch them.
Yeah.
I really like what I'm seeing from him, but he hasn't really played a really good defense besides the Saints. Next week against Washington, I think, like you said, he'll probably fall back down to earth next week. What about you, Nick? Who's your boom?
I'm also going with Jalen Hurts. It's just one more week. I think that he's going to have a really good game, and that's more because the Cowboys' defense is so bad, not because he's so good. I could see him playing pretty well in this game and putting up some big numbers for fantasy owners like you.
Mm-hmm. My bust is Zach Ertz. He's lost number one tight end role to Dallas Goedert, which sucks because he's a pretty good tight end when healthy. But also the fact that I don't like his target shares. He only caught 2 balls last week. I mean, he did total 69 yards, which is good, but like only 2 catches just isn't. No, that's not good. Only two
Yeah.
catches the whole game. So with that being said, my bust, like I said, is Zach Ertz. What about you, Nick? Who's your bust?
My bust, if he plays Ezekiel Elliott, he's having a rough year. 6 fumbles on the season, which is crazy. If he doesn't, I'm going with Amari Cooper. Um, I just don't like the offense, and I think that CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup are kind of taking over as the wide receivers 1 and 2 in that offense, which is crazy because they paid Cooper a lot of money. So, who do you have to win this game?
I have the Cowboys winning this game as much as it pains me to say. I got Dallas winning 31-28. What about you, Nick?
I'm actually going with the Eagles in this one, 21-13. I think the offense with Jalen Hurts will do a little more than the Cowboys will be able to do. And let's move right on from this one. We could be done with it.
Yeah, I agree. Let's go.
We're going on to the Rams next. The Rams at 9-5 versus the Seahawks at 10-4. Rams, they look bad all of a sudden. At least they did against the Jets. The Seahawks, though, they're flying high. Can the Rams, can they rally after an embarrassing loss to the Jets? And can the Seahawks keep going? Since the loss that they had to the Giants, they look pretty good. So the question is, can they keep that going? What do you think? You got anything to add to that?
I think this will be a good game. In all honesty, I think this will be a very good game. I know the Rams lost to the Jets, but besides that, they're playing for seeding in the playoffs. They're playing for the division. If the Seahawks win this game, they will win the division. If the Rams win this game, they will take first place back because they'll have the tiebreaker over Seattle. So this will be a very fun game to watch. I'm very excited to see this game. One of the better games of this week,
Yeah. No, I could definitely see it being a good game. The Rams, they floundered last week, but we knew that. Well, I hoped that the Jets were going to be able to pull one upset of the season, and I think that's all we saw last week. This should be a matchup of 2 very good teams. So, who do you have to boom this week?
My boom is Jared Goff. He didn't really play well against the Jets, which was kind of surprising. But we all know how bad the Seahawks defense is, and I think he will exploit it well. Yeah, Jared Goff, Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, all of them will ball out against this weak Seahawks defense. What about you, Nick? Who's your boom?
So I'm actually going with Tyler Lockett in this one, just because I think that DK Metcalf, he's going to be shadowed by Jalen Ramsey for the majority of this game. Jalen Ramsey is the excellent cornerback for the Rams. He's going to be on an island with DK for most of it. So that's going to open up some opportunities for Tyler Lockett. So who do you have for bust?
It pains me to say this, man. I got Russell Wilson. He's been my fantasy QB the whole year. This week, I'm considering benching him for Jalen Hurts. I don't like what I saw from him last time he played the Rams, and I think his struggles will continue, especially with Aaron Donald reading that pass rush, that freak of nature. So, yeah, that's my bust, Russell Wilson. I guess it pains me to say that, but I just don't think he'll have a good game. What about you, Nick?
I'm going with Chris Carson. I like Chris Carson, but the Rams defense, they're better than they showed us last week. They're pretty damn good out there, actually. And Aaron Donald will not stop until he wreaks havoc on that Seahawks team. So I think we're going to have a rough going for Chris Carson.
I can see that. Who's your pick to win this game, Nick, and why?
I'm going with the Seahawks in a very good, close game, 21-20. How about you?
I agree. I also have Seattle win this game. I got the Seahawks winning 27-24. I think it'll be a good, close game. It'll be a fun game to watch as well. Also, did you see DK Metcalf made the Pro Bowl? Wasn't that cool?
Good for him. You know who else did? Was Evan Ingram. Blech.
I know, bro. I know we haven't even. Let me just say, guys, I apologize for not bringing up the Pro Bowl rosters. I made a mention. I was like, mention the Pro Bowl, and I completely forgot. But how did Evan Ingram make the Pro Bowl? As a Giants fan, how did he make the Pro Bowl?
You're listening to two Giants fans say that this guy sucks and he didn't deserve to make the Pro Bowl. What the hell was that?
Yeah, I mean, James Bradbury, I agree. That was awesome that he made the Pro Bowl. But why Evan Ingram? Okay, let me just say. Right. Tight ends. But the Giants, if they wanted another Giants player, they could have got Graham Goodell, who has only missed like one field goal this whole year. Or one extra point, something like that. Graham Goodell, Leonard Williams, or Logan Ryan.
Yep.
You know, they had three other options, but they chose Evan Ingram. Are you kidding?
It's a joke.
That boggles my mind. But yeah, it is a joke. That's the reason why they call it the pro joke. But congratulations to anyone that made the Pro Bowl for the first time. I know Chase Young and Justin Jefferson were the two rookies that made it. DK Metcalf made it. Josh Stallion, Allen, as you call him, Nick, made the Pro Bowl. So congratulations to anyone that did make the Pro Bowl. James Bradbury, too. He made it for the first time, too, our cornerback of New York. So, yes, congratulations. I know the Pro Bowl is kind of a joke, especially this year. They're not even going to be playing a game, dude. They're going to be playing it on Madden, which is even more of a joke. But, hey, I guess it's still kind of cool. They're trying during a pandemic. So, yeah, the Pro Bowl behind us. Like I said, I'm sorry for not mentioning that earlier. If you guys want us to cover the Pro Bowl and, do it like how we break down each game, if you guys want us to cover that, please let me know. Give me some feedback. I mean, I'm not opposed to doing it. I guess it'd be cool. I mean, there's not much else to talk about before the Super Bowl. We could do the Pro Bowl and the Super Bowl in one episode. Maybe. Who knows? But with that being said, we got the two night games. We got the Sunday night game and the Monday night game. And then we wrapped it all up. But first, we got the Sunday night game. We got the Tennessee Titans at 10-4 against the Green Bay Packers at 11-3. If the Packers win, they will clinch the number one overall seed in the NFC, which they are trying to do, obviously, so they can play in Lambeau Field. Everyone does not like to play at Lambeau besides the Packers. A little bit different without the Cheeseheads there, though, but it's still Lambeau. And we got the battle of two MVP candidates, in my opinion. We got Aaron Rodgers, who is the front runner, again, in my opinion, with Patrick Mahomes having that bad game in Miami. And Derrick Henry, because Derrick Henry, if you know, most valuable player, you know, not the best player, the most valuable to your team is definitely Derrick Henry, without a question.
Absolutely.
Anything to add to this, Nick, with the Titans playing the Packers on Sunday Night Football?
Nothing other than it's going to be a really fun game. I'm excited to watch this one more than most. Should be a great game, and we'll see what happens.
Do you think who do you think is the MVP front runner? You have Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes?
I'm going with Aaron Rodgers right now. He's the guy that I think is the one to beat. He had to show up this year. He knew he had to show up with the young gun sitting behind him that they drafted. So, and I think he did it. So I think he's the front runner for MVP.
I agree. I also agree, but I wouldn't be surprised if Derrick Henry wins it somehow, because he might rush for 2,000 yards. And if he does do that, then I will have to give it to Derrick Henry, man. It's such a rare feat. He is 360-ish away. It's very possible, especially with the Packers' weak run defense.
Yeah.
Speaking of Derrick Henry, he is my boom for the week. As much as I like the Packers overall, their run defense, we all know it sucks. That is definitely the Achilles heel of the Packers, their run defense. And a big guy like Derrick Henry is just going to feast and feast and feast on this weak defense, the weak run defense, excuse me. So, yeah, my boom is Derrick Henry, kind of an obvious choice, but yeah. Who's your boom, Nick?
I'm going with Aaron Rodgers in this game. I could easily choose Derrick Henry, too. I like him a lot in this game. I think he's going to dominate. But I like Aaron Rodgers. I think he's going to go out there and show up. The Packers are arguably the hottest team in football right now. And that's in large part thanks to what Aaron Rodgers has done for that team. So I think he's going to dominate. Who do you have for bust?
My bust is the Packers defense, more specifically their run defense, but yeah, their defense, because they can't contain the run. That's awful. And I think Derrick Henry will definitely exploit that. And the Tennessee Titans, that will be a main focal part of their offensive attack. What about you, Nick? Who's your bust?
I'm going with the Packers' run defense more specifically, but yeah, the defense in general. I think they're just going to get annihilated, and we're going to see Derrick Henry run all over them. Corey Davis, too. Don't forget about Corey Davis. He's putting up crazy numbers the second half of the year. I think he's one of the top 3 wide receivers out there with most yardage in the last month or so. Don't quote me on that, but it's something like that. So I could see a big game for the Titans offense.
I agree. I could definitely see that happening as well. With all this being said, Nick, who is your pick to win this game and why?
Yeah, with all that said, I'm actually going with the Packers to win this game. I think the difference maker is Aaron Rodgers. I think without Aaron Rodgers, I think these are 2 very equal teams, but I think the Packers will win because of him, 34-31 in a shootout. Who do you have?
Yeah, I agree with you completely with Aaron Rodgers being the difference maker here. As much as I don't like their run defense, I still think the Packers will prevail. Because of him. I got Green Bay winning 31-27, and another good game on primetime Sunday night.
Yep. All right, very cool. So that leads us into our final game. We've got Monday Night Football. This is a great one in a lot of people's opinions, especially if you live up north in the New York area, because it is the Buffalo Bills at 11-3 versus the Patriots at 6-8. Listen up, Buffalo fans. The Bills clinched their division. This is amazing. It's poetic justice for them that the next game they play is against the Patriots, the team that has dominated the AFC East for the last 20 years. Thank you to Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. But guess what? It's over for them now. It's the Josh Stallion Allen. It's the Stephon Diggs show. It's this amazing offense, great defense. It's their time to shine. And this is what we get. This is the poetic justice that they get to go out there and they get to destroy those Patriots and kick their ass. That's what I think is going to happen in this game. What do you have to add to it?
Well, Nick, you forgot they won't kick their ass because they got Cam Newton on the Patriots.
Yeah,
No, but I love the Bills, man. I really like this team. I like Stephon Diggs. I like Josh Allen. I like Devin Singletary. This team, Tre'Davious White. This team's amazing, and I think they. Let me just say this: this might be a hot take. If they beat the Chiefs in the playoffs, I think the Bills are going to win the Super Bowl.
I can see it.
That might be a hot take, but I mean, they're the clear front runner to play the Chiefs in the AFC title game, especially with the Steelers losing. They now have the 2nd seed in the AFC. They are the clear front runner to play the Chiefs in the AFC title game. If they can beat the Chiefs, or if the Chiefs lose before then, I think the Bills are going to win the AFC. That's all I have to say. The Patriots are not making the playoffs for the first time in 11 years or so, 12 years. I think that's what I saw. First time since 2007. So yeah, the Bills are my sleeper pick to win the Super Bowl. Not my true pick, but like I said, if the Chiefs lose, I think the Bills are going to take it all. With all that being said, Nick, who's your boom for this game and why?
My boom is Josh Stallion Allen. I love what I see out of him. He's a great passer now. He always was a great runner. He's got a cannon for an arm. He's awesome. He's the whole package. And I kind of wish the Giants took him in the draft, but that's another topic for another day. So who do you have for boom?
My boom is Stephon Diggs. He's been having a great year. He made his first Pro Bowl this year. In his great career overall, he was always behind in Adam Thielen's shadow, but this year he's really broke out into his own. He's an elite receiver. He's 3rd in the league in receiving yards behind Travis Kelce and DeAndre Hopkins, and I think he's in the discussion for a top 5 receivers in the league, in my opinion. He's been playing out of his mind, and that will continue against the New England Patriots. I see your bust, Nick. I'm not too happy with it, but go ahead and tell the viewers your bust.
My bust is good old Cam Newton, the guy that can't hit the side of a barn with a beach ball. The worst throwing quarterback I've seen in many years. look, he can run the ball, and he's basically a linebacker out there with the size. But I think the Bills defense, they do enough to stop Cam Newton and the running or the passing game. So I think that we're going to see a bad game from Cam Newton. Who do you have for bust?
My bust is Jacoby Myers, who is a number 3 receiver, like on any normal team's depth chart, but on the Patriots, he's their number 1 receiver. And with that being said, he'll be shadowed by Tre'Davious White, and it just won't be good for Jacoby Myers. So, yeah, it's going to be sad. I don't expect him to get a catch. I'm going to be honest.
No, I agree.
But with all that being, oh, go ahead, Nick. I'm sorry.
I was just saying I agree with that completely, and I could definitely see that happening.
Yep. With that being said, you guys can probably tell me and Nick really like the Bills in this game. I got the Bills winning 31-20. What about you, Nick?
I got the Bills also winning 27-14.
Awesome. So we have finished week 16. As we wrap this up, let's get into our games of the week to watch. Nick, what is your game to watch this week and why?
My game of the week to watch is the Colts versus the Steelers. The Steelers they've lost 3 in a row now. There's no run game, and Big Ben looks worse than ever. And they're finally playing a really good defense. And honestly, I think it's going to be a rough one for the Steelers. I think the Colts are going to win this one pretty handily. What about you? What's your game for the week or game to watch?
Yeah, my game of the week to watch might be a little bit surprising to some, but I think this will be a good game if you could already tell with what I said when I was talking about this game, is the Titans and the Packers. It's on prime time. It's on Sunday night, so a lot of people will be watching it. And we have both are great teams who can make a deep playoff run. The Packers' poor run defense versus King Henry, that's going to be fun to watch. And the Titans' overall weak defense in general against MVP frontrunner Aaron Rodgers. So it'll be fun to watch. Don't forget to tune in this one, like I said, Sunday night on NBC. So, yeah. And then finally, we got our picks record. It's really close. It's only a 1-game difference. Nick's record is 46-30. Mine is 47-29. So very close. That's just awesome. It's so close. So yeah, guys, that concludes episode 6, week 16 of the Gridiron Talk podcast. I hope you guys all have a good Christmas if you celebrate that. Hopefully you guys get everything you wanted, get all the gifts you asked for. You guys hang out with your friends and family and stay safe during the coronavirus. I do feel better now. I'm basically asymptomatic. I forgot to talk about that, but I feel better. I can't really smell still, but I mean, besides that, I'm all better. And that should be back in about a week or two. So, but like I said, besides that, I feel great. Anything to add, Nick, before we wrap up the episode?
Nope. Just everyone have a great week. Enjoy your holidays. Give everyone a big hug and tell them you love them, and take care, everyone.
Yep. Like I said, thank you guys for watching. It means the world. If you guys like the podcast, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share it with all your friends and family. Have a good Christmas. We'll be back next week for week 17. And also, almost forgot this. Shout out to Joey Christmas again for making the thumbnail. He did it again this week with Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, and Stephon Diggs. Me and Nick both appreciate you a lot, man. That was a great job by you. And also tune in for the wild card episode in 2 weeks, where it'll be the first time that all 3 of us are recording. Joey will be a guest. So tune into that one. And like I said, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys have a great week, and don't forget to watch the football this weekend.